a pleasure to have you once again on NTV The Link. We always keep our promise to give you information that you can use, but also opportunities. The past couple of weeks we have had a lot of information you can use, and we are continuing in that stride information. Today we're talking about this thing called a will. You probably know that I have heard about the will, but we're going to talk about the will in line of property and business. And in the studio, I have the right person for this conversation. Lawyer Kimara, Arnold Kimara, from Kimara Advocates and Consultants. Counsel Arnold, welcome.
Thank you so much.
You mind calling you Counsel Arnold?
Arnold is better.
All right.
Yes.
The will. Let's start with the simple, because this is a space for educating people. In simple terms, what's a will?
Well, a will, if you may, in simple terms, you would regard it as a written final wish of a person on how their property, assets, and businesses can be dealt with when they are no longer there.
Okay.
Yes.
Somebody was arguing with, we were having a debate earlier today, and he was saying, when does the will come into force? When I'm dead?
Yes, principally a will, it depends on the type of the will. But yes, all wills take effect after the demise of the maker.
Okay.
Yes, while the maker is still alive, they can make changes, they can make improvements, they can make additions and subtractions, depending on how they acquire more assets in their time.
Okay.
But yes, only up to demise does it start to really operate.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the true power of a written will when dealing with property or the business of a person who has died?
Well, Samuel, the will, if you may, is the way the owner of all these properties and businesses continues to speak when they are no longer with their family.
Okay.
So it's a document. If it is written, it is a very key element in determining how, first of all, the family will deal with the properties they leave, or how the businesses will. So if you'd like, for instance, there are particularly wills that will center mostly, which is I think the most common in Uganda, for a certain class of people. It's literally those where they more talk about how to dispose of the property. Yeah. Many of the people, whenever they see a will, it's about really how is property shared? Sharing and dividing. But this document can actually be used to manage a legacy. Okay. Preserve the legacy, keep it going, and actually help the family even accumulate much more. Yay. Yes. So it can help them to preserve what they have. Now, it comes down to the writer or the testamenter of the will, who we call the testator, or the maker of it. So the maker can communicate exactly how they feel this hard-earned built legacy should continue. When in our observation, we're going to look at how it is with the differences, because now you have a category of people who have so much. What happens? Does it all go away? If it is a company, let's say someone has a massive business that has so many people, dependents and people working with them, in the thousands. If the approach is simply dissolve and share and distribute, there's so many people that are
going to suffer.
Exactly. So the real power of it is that the testator of the will can actually guide and determine how the family would continue with what the person has been able to achieve in their lifetime, and even also how the businesses can continue. For instance, if it is family property, which is the most common, the testator of the will can choose to, one, distribute the estate, in which case they will name the beneficiaries one by one, distribute, or even include those they've already given properties in their lifetime. Okay. In the alternative, the testator can also determine and say, no, no, no. Everything that has been built should stay. What should happen is that it should be managed in this way.
Okay.
To achieve continuity. That is a very good way and a very good approach, especially where the estate has children, younger people that would have to benefit or can benefit from this much later. Or also if the estate has dependent relatives who are much older and unable to do the running around of day-to-day life, property has been distributed, money has been shared, what do they invest in it? Someone is a dependent relative, let's say 80, 75, 90. So in real modern day estate planning, it's wise that those wills are drafted in a way that they can help the family continue, because the process, talk about it, the process of accumulating family wealth alone is tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Many years of sweat.
Many years of sweat, so much sacrifice. Now, for it to simply be dissolved by simple sale and all that is quite to kind of devalue it so fast.
Yes.
And at that point, it's really about who is willing to pay for this. But so much can be done in a way that by the will, especially when it comes to family property, because you'll find a person can accumulate, let's say, a square mile of land.
Yes.
In their lifetime, they're doing farming on it. And rather than have that property sold and the proceeds shared equally, it can be put into a system that is like a family trust.
Okay.
Okay? So the family trust can create trustees who would continue to manage that business or that kind of venture.
Yeah.
And the outcome or the profit from it is used to take care of members of the family. They continue to live under the proper standards of life. Their necessities of life are met. And they are able to innovatively and by inspiration also add to what has been left for them. Yes. So that is one of the ways when dealing with specifically with property. When it comes to business, it's a whole different ballgame. Because with business, then comes a lot of corporate related matters. And I think it has to be understood that with that will, a person can actually line out the nature of business relations and how their involvement in a business can actually continue. Because in a business, you have several team players.
Absolutely. Other
than a family. A family most times is the children, the spouse, the dependent relatives, the siblings. But when it's business, there are other third parties. One, you have government, taxes. Two, you have shareholders or co-owners. Three, you have those in management, the directors. Four, you have the non-equity financiers or the investors. Then you have the creditors. If let's say the business was operating on let's say finances from credit institutions. You have others also who are staff members. The ones who are employed. They may be in the thousands. So you have all of these relations. Now, a legacy built, and this we are now talking about if someone has such a business that is that robust. By the will, they can actually achieve a couple of things. One such thing they can achieve is they can manage the relationship between the family members who are going to be beneficiaries from their, let's say, the shares in the company in that moment of transition with the co-owners. With the will, they can manage avoiding business disruption. They can achieve business continuity.
So you are saying, Arnold, that when I read the will, I outline those details.
Each of those things can be done.
Down to the letter.
Actually, the law also has a provision. I think if I recall well, it must be section 51 of the Succession Act. It even allows that in the will, the testator can make reference to another document which speaks of their intention and will. Not necessarily the will.
The will.
Yes. So they can even, in the will, they can mention another document, and that document will be read together with the intention, because if the idea is to draw what is the final intention of this person. So by the will, you can even imagine there are so many ways actually a will can save a family.
Okay.
Yes.
We're running out of time. And I'll bring you back. There's the first question, very important. DNA, but I don't think we have time for it. We have 1 minute and a half left.
It is okay.
Under what circumstance can a will not be 100% proof?
Those are ways in which a will can actually have, it can be faulted.
Yes.
One, the witnessing. If the witnessing is wrong, that's the signature of the testator, also the signature of the witnesses.
Okay.
Two, want of capacity.
What is that?
That is, if the person making it at the time is a minor, they are not allowed. If the person in that moment is unable to understand what they are doing, it can affect the validity.
Okay.
Yes. Three, those are other things. For instance, if the will does not name certain qualities of a will, it may be found to be wanting.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Arnold, we can, I'm tempted to ask, but I can't. Viewers, I am itching to ask, but time doesn't allow me. I am going to bring Arnold back. There's the fourth question we didn't touch. DNA. How can DNA cause problems for the will? And it was a problem recently. Time doesn't allow me to ask that, but I'm going to bring him in 4 weeks' time. Count 4 weeks from today. I'm going to bring him back. And we talk about DNA and wills and any other things that can jeopardize that document. We hope we added value to you, and I know you are saying, yes, we are going to come back on this issue. That was the link. Thank you for joining us tonight.